Hey guys, Judge Joe here for season 2 of Cooking with Daniel. So welcome everybody to season 2, episode 2 of Cooking with Daniel. Really glad you could join me today. So what we're going to be cooking is some chicken parmesan, and I'm going to be throwing on top of it some homemade marinara sauce that I'm going to make, and it's going to be awesome, so stick along for the ride.
Today's chef is Daniel Hall. Daniel is a returning chef from season 1 of Cooking with Daniel. His favorite meal to cook is stir fry, and his nickname is FloppyPENGuinn.
The first thing we're going to be doing today is preheating our oven. We're going to set it to a nice 450. That way the chicken can cook, and we're also going to be leaving it in there for about 22 to 25 minutes, and to get it to a nice golden brown with how it is crusted. So the next part we'll be doing is getting the chicken ready to go and cutting some vegetables. The first thing that I want to do while the oven is preheating, just going to cut these vegetables. I have an orange bell pepper and a red bell pepper to cut. They'll go on top of the chicken as well as the marinara sauce, and so it'll add just a really nice look to the plate, really add some nice color to it as well. And so I'm going to cut these, and if you want to see me cut more vegetables like this, be sure to check out episode 3 of season 1 up here in the top right of your screen, and you'll see. So now that we have our orange bell pepper and our red bell peppers nice and julienned, a little cut thicker than julienne, just a hair thicker, just to make them look real nice for the plating. We're just going to leave those in the bowl for right now, just to clean off our cutting board. And the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a stick of butter and getting that ready to melt. So we're just going to throw it in this pot here and get the burner up pretty high just to melt this stick of butter, so that we can put our chicken in it to allow the breadcrumbs and cheese to stick to the chicken very easily. So today I want to share a little Chef Daniel secret with you all today. So when you're cooking pasta like spaghetti or tortellini or whatever that you're trying to cook, you will have the water getting ready to boil, but while it's getting ready to boil, you can take some salt, and of course I like to use my fresh sea salt grinder, and you just add it to the water. Not too much salt, just a little bit. And while it's getting ready to boil, that kind of helps it boil and adds just a little bit of nice flavor whenever the pasta is cooking. So the next thing we're going to be doing is taking our butter that is now melted, as you see there. Got some melted butter in our pot on our pan. So now we're going to be throwing this into the bowl and letting it kind of cool off for just a moment. Alrighty, so now that our oven is completely preheated, we are going to complete the chicken breasts and get them ready to go in the oven. So we're going to be using this mixture from just a minute ago and just kind of putting our chicken breasts into it, and then putting some additional breadcrumbs on top to get a nice layer coating on the chicken breast, and then flip it over and get the reverse side, and just like that. And we're going to do this with our last chicken breast that we have in the package here. And you kind of want to get a nice even spreading out of the chicken breasts while they're cooking. That'll definitely help the chicken breasts, and that'll definitely help with cooking. You don't want them on top of each other per se, so let's scooch that one on over just a touch. Alright, so let's get the first side of this one nicely breaded. Just kind of spread those breadcrumbs out, make a nice even layer around the chicken so that it gets very firmly crusted, as you really want that crunch whenever you bite into it, that nice dark golden brown crunch that we will see. So the next thing is going to be sticking these in the oven as our water is beginning to boil for our spaghetti. So the last step that I didn't go over just a moment ago is going to be putting some Parmesan cheese on top so that it melts very nicely. So we're just going to coat the chicken breast with some Parmesan cheese. So now that we have them all very nicely coated with cheese, we're going to be coming over here to the oven. And once again, to reiterate, we have it on 450 degrees. And we're going to be cooking these for between about 22 and 25 minutes. For our next part, we're going to be, first of all, you want to turn down once the water starts to boil for your pasta. Turn down the heat on the burner. And then you're going to be taking your spaghetti and you're going to drop it on into the boiling water and let it cook. We're going to be looking somewhere between about 8 to 10 minutes for that pasta to cook, or until it's nice and loose and it's not crunchy whatsoever. So always look out for that. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting some olive oil right here, extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to be just glazing just a little bit in our pan, just like so, and getting the sauce, the marinara sauce, ready to go. So the next step, here I have in my hand some chopped garlic. So I'm going to be, as our pan gets warm, lukewarm, going to be adding in about half of a spoonful of chopped garlic and kind of spread it around the pan just a little bit for our sauce. So the key with this, using the garlic, is to make sure, first of all, that we spread it around the pan just like this, to get the garlic around the pan, get it in the olive oil a little bit. And once we do that, we just kind of want to let it sit and get hotter. And as it gets warmer and warmer, then once the garlic starts to turn a nice brown is when we want to add in the other ingredients for our sauce. Alrighty, so for the next part, we are going to be finishing our sauce up. So we're going to be adding in 2 cans of tomato paste. And as I described earlier as well, our garlic is nice and golden brown. It is not to a black point. You can still see some of the garlic in there. You see the olive oil get separated as well. So we are just putting both cans in there of the tomato. And then we're going to be adding some 1 full tablespoon of green chilies, just to add a really, really nice flavor to this. And as it cooks a little longer, we're going to be adding basil in just a minute. But we're going to give this a really nice stir and keep that heat right about the same, just a little above medium. And let this continue to cook, and then it'll be done once it starts to boil. The next part is putting in our veggies to saute them. And as we spoke about earlier, we have some bell peppers, orange and red. So we're just going to be tossing those into a pan with some butter. The butter is, of course, melted in the pan. And we'll give those a nice stir once we discard of the bowl. So give them just a really good, nice stir. And then we're going to be adding salt, just a little, not much. Just a little bit of salt. And we're going to be reaching in for our pepper grinder. And we are going to be adding in some pepper as well, not much. Just about right there. And for a little bit more of a refined taste, we are going to be adding in some garlic. So we will take our garlic and just gently, not much, just right there, add a couple pinches of garlic. Alrighty, so our chicken has a little under 9 minutes left to go. And as you see here, our sauce for the marinara sauce is starting to boil. As well, our pasta is now complete. Alrighty, so now we have some basil leaves that we're going to be adding to the sauce. We're going to go ahead and turn off the heat completely on the sauce and just gently sprinkle some basil leaves on top of the sauce. Give it just a little hint of basil whenever he's eating it. And go ahead and give it a nice stir and move it to a cool burner. Leave it in the pan for right now because the chicken has just a couple minutes left. And while the chicken is finishing cooking, give these a nice move because once again we want to keep those bell peppers moving while they saute. And we're going to strain the pasta. So we just come over here to our strainer, dump all the water in, and go ahead and dump our pasta in. Always makes my glasses fog up. But anyways, so Now that we have this nice and strained pasta, going to kind of move it around a little bit and then get it ready to plate from there with our sauce and the chicken once the chicken is finished cooking. Alarm has just gone off for the chicken, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the oven and check on it. And once again, you always want to be careful getting chicken and anything out of the oven. So as you see, besides the breadcrumbs that got away from us that are on the pan that are burnt, the chicken looks great. We have a very, very beautiful crust on it, and I think it's going to be amazing once we put the sauce and the bell peppers on top. So now that we have the spaghetti on the plate, we're going to be adding our beautiful looking chicken breast, just like that. The breading looks great, and as you can see, it has a very nice looking melted Parmesan cheese on top. And then we're going to be adding alongside some of our bell peppers that we sauteed. So we're just going to take these, and you can see that they look beautifully glazed. We're just going to set them to the side of the chicken, just like this, so that they add just a really nice color balance to the plate. And our final piece is adding the sauce, the homemade, beautifully looking marinara sauce. As we go ahead and get a nice spoonful of this, glaze the chicken with it, just very neatly and very evenly spread out, kind of like we did the breadcrumbs and the cheese on the chicken as well. So get it just very nicely looking like that, and just a touch more to the side. And we'll clean up our plate a little bit and get it ready to serve to Judge Joe.
Returning from Season 1 of Cooking with Daniel is Judge Joe. Judge Joe specializes in grilling various meats and taught Chef Daniel many of his cooking skills at a young age.
Hello, Chef.
Hello, Judge. Alrighty. So in front of you today, you have a beautifully cooked chicken parmesan with homemade marinara sauce on top with some green chili sprinkled in. And underneath that, you have some beautifully cooked pasta, spaghetti pasta, and some sauteed yellow and orange bell peppers.
Well, it certainly looks delicious. We'll see what we can find out about it.
Thank you.
So it's covered in breadcrumbs, cheese, marinara sauce.
Absolutely. Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs cooked to a beautifully golden brown in the oven.
Let me get a bite of this. Everything in this first bite. Yeah. The chicken. Chicken's perfectly cooked. Breadcrumbs and cheese are well spread, coated with that marinara sauce. This gives it a little burst of flavor. Let's see about this pasta. Oh yeah, it's cooked very well. Not tough. It's tender, good. Now this is all peppers?
Yes, sir.
All peppers. And how were they prepared?
They were sauteed, pan sauteed with butter.
With butter.
And seasoned with garlic and pepper and salt.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Let's see, because... Oh yeah, that really brings out the flavor in the chicken. I believe this was a finely prepared chicken parmesan.
Thank you, Judge. Thanks everyone for watching today. I think today went great. I had an amazing time cooking the chicken parmesan, and I think next week is going to be a great way to wrap up season 2 and an even better finish than we had last season in season 1. So be sure and check that out if you haven't. Huge shout out to Judge Joe for doing a great job as always, and my sister for recording. Very thankful for that. And be sure to subscribe, comment, and like below. And let me know anything that you would like me to cook in future seasons or future episodes in the comments below.
And it always starts